Okay, this is absolutely the last video I'm going to do on this, honest. Just remembered a few things that aren't necessarily necessary, but just help finish off your model, as it were, on the assembly side of things. So the first thing is that I don't think I've mentioned previously. We just want a little screw to go in that hole there, and we can get that by going to Insert, Standard Content, and then we select ISO, because international standard, bolts and screws, okay. Hex head bolt, you could do a set screws, hex socket. They're quite nice. Quite like those. There we go. No, we don't want a set screw, do we? Slotted head screws, socket head screws. There we go. Have a nice socket head cap screw. There we go. Yeah, you can use an Allen key for that, like an Allen key. Yeah, and then we look at the size of the hole. Yeah, we could go back to the drawing and we could check the size of that hole. I think it's 5mm, so we choose an M5 bolt to go in there. Just wait for it to think about that. Okay, and then we can choose the length. Say 20mm is probably fine. And then that can then we can just press the insert button, and it will appear as if by magic. There we go. We can see that there, and then we can make that up into there in the usual way. Okay, so that's exciting. Make sure you press the tick button when you've finished, unlike me who just pressed the cross button. I mean, just just to remind you, these icons here actually give you some insight as to how the things will interact with each other. So if you've got a screw thread, you want it to move backwards and forwards, but you also want it to rotate. So that's a cylindrical mate. If you don't want something to move, that's a fastened mate. So just think about how the parts interact with each other, and look at the icons and think, well, does that have the arrows in the direction that I need this thing to move? When you're doing this, make sure that it slides in and out, and you might have forgotten how to do that. Remember when you inserted this, I think I gave you tips on the video. Yeah, we picked an edge, didn't we? We picked an edge. So you've picked wants to be a slider mate there. Yeah, and as you can see, I'll just do it from scratch. Yeah, when we move onto a surface, yeah, the blue arrow, the blue line there is the Z-axis, and that's the direction we're going to slide in. So we don't want it sliding on a surface, do we? But if we put it on an edge, then the blue line's going in the right direction. Okay, so let's just pick the corresponding edges there. I'm going to pick the center points. And there we go. So we can slide that in and out now. Yeah. Okay. So that's worth remembering. The other things, just to finish this off, really, you'll notice that as I move this backwards and forwards, it spins nicely. So what I'm just going to do is I'll just get rid of that, and I'll get rid of that. Of course, in reality, this part here and this part here aren't actually connected, are they? What happens is when we turn this, this moves forwards and pushes, doesn't actually sink through it, but would push this closed. But then when we move this back, it would leave it where it is. Yeah, but just to make things just a little bit nicer to work within the model, we can attach these two things together, even though we know that's not the case in reality. And we've got two flat surfaces. We've got one flat surface and we've got a curved surface here. So what we can do is we can use a tangent mate there, so we can attach, and it just works a little bit differently to the others. Everything else, we just click our 2 points and it stacks them both in the same box. Here we've got two different boxes, so we just have to make sure we're in that second box there when we pick our second face. Okay, and now these two things are glued together, even though that we know that in reality they're not actually glued together. Yeah, come on, there we go. Come on. It's been a bit laggy, isn't it? Okay. So, even though in reality we know these two things aren't actually glued together. Why would we do that? Well, if you see here, we've got some relations that we can do. We can set up gear relations, we can set up rack and pinion relations, we can set up screw relations. So let's set up a screw relation. And what does it say? It's well, if we hover over it, it says screw relation. Select one cylindrical mate, select the screw relation tool, specify ratio. So Yeah, what mate are we going to use? Well, we're going to use that cylindrical mate. That's where we want our screw relation. If you want, you can set that to the pitch. Distance per revolution. You could set that, work out what the pitch is per revolution, or the distance per revolution is for the pitch of the thing. If you were, be particularly, but let's be fair. All we want is something that moves. Come on, you can do this. No, we can't. Oh dear, it is running very slowly. What I'd like to be able to show you is that as I slide this gently backwards and forwards, the other thing spins around, but it seems to be not wanting to do that at the moment. I'm not entirely sure why. But you saw that happening at the start, didn't you? Before we did it again. So, you don't have to do those things. They're just kind of nice finishing off things. Another thing you might notice about this assembly is that as I drag this part, it stops there. It doesn't go through. And we do that there's our slider, mate, so we'll double click on that to edit it. We can do that by clicking limits, okay? And so we can set these values to limit, to stop the movement of things, and that's worth playing with as well. It just makes things look a little bit more professional. So you can set limits like that, okay? I'm just going to hit refresh and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. See whether it moves a bit more smoothly. So those are some things that you might like to do, just to make things a little bit more professional, a little bit more slick. That's the word I'm looking for. A little bit more slick. Right, let's see if that's made any difference at all. There we go. Yeah. So we can see that now. That's better. Yeah, because I've got my limits set, the parts don't go through each other. Yeah, I've not set any limits on this. Oh, I must have set limits on that as well. Look at that. Gosh. Okay, so is there anything else that we need to do here? No, I don't think so. I think those are all the major points that we need for for finishing off the assembly. I've been through creation of assembly drawing in the previous video. We've again, just to reiterate, if you've missed the bit at the helping with assembly video, please watch to the end, because there's a crucial bit of information there that lets the table fill itself in automatically. All we need to do is we right click on the part properties, and then we fill in this information here, and it will fill in the table. That's from me trying to do a live demonstration earlier and constantly changing the wrong box. So let's just change that back again. Right, okay. If I've missed anything else, I will do one more video just for completeness sake, but I think that covers most of it. So once you've done that, it's on to the next drawing. Fantastic. All right, bye.